皆さんこんにちは。今日はですね、ワシン・マームドさんという BBC のジャーナリストですね、アフガニスタンに非常に関わっていて、アフガニスタンで、タリバンの前の政権ですね、今回タリバンに占拠されちゃいましたけども、その時に初めてですね、センサーシップ、つまり検閲なしの放送を始めて、そしてさらにですね、イコールアクセスっていうんですけども、アフガニスタンの本当に田舎の方まで電波を届けて、そしてやっていこうという、そういう仕事をされてた方です。さてと、今日は面白い話を聞いてみたいと思います。
There we are, better.
That's good. Yeah, nice to meet you actually.
The pleasure is all mine. I've heard so much about you from Mike.
Okay, thank you. Can I call you Washim, or what is the best way to
You could call me Wasim.
Wasim?
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Washim, I know that you are quite a famous journalist. I'm so honored to see you.
I wouldn't call myself famous, but no, I do write a bit, but I've been mostly working in television most of my life.
I understand. You are now staying in London.
I live in Stratford-upon-Avon, which is about 100 miles from London, and it's the home of Shakespeare.
Wow, it's quite a green place.
Very green, yes.
Oh, I envy you. How is the COVID? I heard you suffered from COVID, and I'm so sorry to hear that.
Well, what can we do? Everybody, it's been going around, and I'm glad that I am here, because I've lost several friends to COVID. It was bad. It still is bad, but we have to live with it.
I understand. Your symptom was terrible?
My symptoms were pretty bad. I had a tremendous breathing issues and a lot of fatigue. And now one of the things that I suffer is brain fog. So if I start a sentence and forget what I'm saying, please forgive me.
Okay, I understand. I hope that you will feel better pretty soon.
Thank you very much indeed. It's getting better, but I think it's just time, really, isn't it?
I totally understand. Actually, just I would like to hear particularly like Afghanistan issue, and I understand that still people working over there, and there are some kind of life or death issue. That is why maybe you cannot tell everything to me because of the internet. But if you have any comment, current situation of Taliban, and also if you know some information, I'm really appreciate to hear that.
Okay, I first went to Afghanistan in the year 2002. I went just literally 6 weeks after the Taliban left. And the idea of my journey was to set up a radio show. Because what happens when war happens or a conflict happens, the first thing that people need is information, and unbiased information.
Right.
So what I did was I went up and set up a project there called Good Morning Afghanistan.
Yes.
And I stayed in Afghanistan nearly for 5 years.
Wow.
Good Morning Afghanistan ended up becoming the single most important source of information for Afghans in that time, just after the war.
So that is a satellite-based, like an equal access program, or a different one?
This was different. We worked with Equal Access. Equal Access and I shared we shared offices, and they worked with us a lot. But no, this was transmitted on the Radio Afghanistan transmitters on FM and medium wave.
I see. Then you gather so many voices from all over Afghanistan, including like Kandahar and many regional places.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And
Go ahead.
What was the typical voices? I understand that in a Taliban regime old days, so many things happening over there. The people still have a lot of so-called after-war syndrome at that time.
I think the voices were voices of hope. I think the voices were looking to the future. They were rebuilding. They were learning. There was a lot of things that they didn't know. I mean, journalists, for example, we worked with, they had to be taught that it's okay to question. You can go to a minister and do an interview and hold them accountable. They didn't understand that. So it was giving them this responsibility of what media was. So the voices were voices of freedom, voices of hope, voices of, what they wanted their country to be.
And then now again the Taliban came into the real view right now. And what is your opinion right now?
I'm very saddened by what is happening.
Exactly.
I am very depressed by what is happening. I have a lot of friends and colleagues who I've desperately been trying to get out of the country, who I know will. No, they couldn't, because the evacuation rules for governments were so tight and so narrow that these people couldn't fit into those criteria. And the problem has been that, we taught, a lot of these are journalists, and we gave them the freedoms to speak. So a lot of them have been speaking against the Taliban, against insurgency. And now that the Taliban are there, they are very much on their death lists.
I understand.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
Do you trust the Taliban's statement that they will protect the people? Do you trust it?
It's a very difficult question.
I understand. If you cannot, please do not say so. Please.
No. I will answer this.
Okay.
I would like to trust the Taliban. Okay. I would like to trust them. I pray that they keep their promises of not harming people and the amnesty. But, the reports I'm receiving are very different to what they're saying or the face that they're presenting to the world. So all we can do is pray.
I tell you one thing. Taliban is not the only one team, right? It is just quite a diverse, so many people. And of course, fanatic people as well as relatively rational people. And do you expect any conflict internally? Some people are quite radical, and some.
Yeah.
And the other
I get it.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it depends on how strong the Taliban leadership is. And which faction within the Taliban succeeds. But I know that there is opposition outside of the Taliban, and it's very difficult to predict. It's very difficult because the Taliban claim to be the new Taliban. They claim to be less brutal than the last Taliban. They claim to be more liberal than the previous Taliban, and that they've learned. So let's see how that translates, and let's see if they are able to hold a government together and bring all these groups together.
Now, particularly, maybe you may have a lot of female colleagues over there who could not get out. So I hope that everybody is all right now.
One of the people I was working with was a presenter of the morning show on Radio Television Afghanistan. And they were telling me that on the first day, the Taliban came in on the Monday and said, normal, everything's normal, don't worry. Then Tuesday, they actually marched everybody, including the females, out by gunpoint. And they are, so on the same day that the Taliban were giving this interview to a female journalist, the television station that they own or were running, which was Radio Television Afghanistan, they were throwing all the female presenters out. And they have threatened her. I've seen the letters, and we have not been able to do anything.
And you can still communicate with them?
I am still in communication with some of the people out there. They are trying to limit communication because of not wanting to keep their phones on too long. So we have this network where we understand what is going on and we speak to them. And as long as we know they're safe, that's okay.
And do you have any idea like how they can evacuate from Afghanistan?
We are looking into ways of getting them to evacuate at the moment. We're just waiting at this moment to see what the rules of the various governments are going to be now that the immediate evacuation has ended. And nobody has told us what their policy is going to be. So until we understand that, we're not going to be able to get them out. Taliban are saying that they will allow people with visas to leave, and they're hoping that the airport will open within the next few days. We are looking at overland routes, we are looking at other routes as well. But all of them mean that these people need to have onward visas before they can travel. So that's the problem at the moment.
And also Taliban still, because they have been absent from Afghanistan's government for a long time. So they do not have any administrative technology to deal with people and deal with like a taxing and everything. It's a total mess, I believe. So how they will normalize it, that's another question.
Well, that's all. It goes back to my earlier answer that we don't know yet. We hope that they have learned lessons from the past and will retain people, at least in the civil service, that could help them, and they don't just throw the old regime out totally. But let's see. Let's see what happens.
So everything is still dark right now. That case.
Everything is still dark. You're absolutely right.